All right, today we are solving equations by factoring, focusing on quadratics, which means we are going to follow, for the most part, the same steps we did last time with factoring. We're going to use our x method to get our factors. And in order to do so, we need our equation in general form, which means everything is on one side and it's equal to 0. And then after we factor, we set each factor equal to 0 and solve. And when we're solving those, it'll be usually a 1 or a 2-step equation. So let's jump into example A. First, I need this in general form, so I'm going to move the 24 over. And I'll have x squared plus 5x minus 24 is equal to 0. Then to factor that, I'm going to use my x method. 1 times negative 24 is negative 24. B is 5, so I need two numbers that multiply to negative 24 and add to 5. That is going to be 8 and negative 3. So A is 1 here, so I don't need to worry about dividing. And my factored quadratic is going to be x plus 8 times x minus 3. And now that I finished factoring, I set each parentheses equal to 0. And these are each one-step equations, and so I'm going to get that x is negative 8 and x is positive 3 as my two solutions. All right, on to B. Again, I need to get all of my equation on one side, so I am going to move over these terms, combine the like ones, and I am going to end up with 4x squared minus 12x plus 9 is equal to 0. So again, I'm going to use my x method. 4 times 9 is 36. My b term is negative 12. Numbers that multiply to 36 and add to negative 12 are negative 6 and negative 6. A is bigger than 1, so I need to divide by 4. And this is going to reduce to negative 3 over 2 for both of these. So x minus 3 over 2 times x minus 3 over 2. To clear those fractions, I multiply by my denominator, which is 2 for both sets of parentheses. So I have 2x minus 3 times 2x minus 3. And then when I'm solving, these parentheses are the same, so I'm going to get the same solution twice. And that is going to be 3 over 2. Okay, on to C. Now, your first instinct on a problem like this would be, sorry about that bell. Your first instinct on a problem like this might be to distribute and then start combining like terms, but what this actually is what we've seen before in factoring by grouping. This is like the second step that someone has already grouped and taken out the GCF from each group, and now that I have 4 minus x and 4 minus x, I can just take that out, and my leftovers are 3 minus 2x, and now I can just set each parentheses equal to 0. So you can still get to the same solution by distributing and solving it that way, but this is going to be a much more straightforward way to get 4 and positive 3 over 2 for your two solutions. Okay, on D, this is a difference of squares. So when I factor it, it's going to be a minus b times a plus b. So my a term is 4y, my b term is 11. So my factorization is 4y minus 11 times 4y plus 11, and I need to set that equal to 0. It's missing that equal sign. Has to be an equation for us to solve it. So 4y minus 11 equals 0, 4y plus 11 equals 0. So again, just easy two-step equations. Y is equal to 11 over 4, and y is equal to negative 11 over 4. Okay, last one on E. This one I actually do need to do some multiplication before I can combine my like terms. This first part on the left I need to FOIL, so that's going to give me 9w squared minus 6w plus 6w minus 4. And so those middle terms are actually going to cancel on the left, so now I can move over everything from the right. And I'm going to get 10w squared minus 26w plus 12 is equal to 0. Now, before I start factoring my trinomial, there is actually a GCF here I can take out, and that is 2. And that will leave me with 5w squared minus 13w plus 6. And now this is the trinomial I'm going to use my x method to factor. So 5 times 6 is 30. B is negative 13. Numbers that multiply to 30 and add to negative 13 are negative 3 and negative 10. A is 5, so I have to divide both of those by 5. This is going to remain a fraction. This becomes negative 2. So x minus 2 times x minus 3 over 5. Clear that fraction by multiplying by my denominator of 5. And that gives me 5x minus 3. So here is my factored trinomial. So putting it back over here, that 2 stays in front. And now to solve, I'm going to set each of these parentheses equal to 0. So I'm going to get that x is 2. And x is also 3 over 5. And that is it for our notes on solving by factoring.